Jazz lose a tough one in Phoenix where they really just simply shot themselves right out of the game with the three ball. Missed three after missed three after missed three. Just a miserable night shooting the ball. But let's see what happens.
Jazz Smack, your source for information and analysis about the Utah Jazz and NBA basketball. Jazz Smack is a community for passionate Utah Jazz NBA fans.
Jazz just could not make a three tonight, and that really did them in. I mean, that was essentially the game. And these are the type of games when you shoot so many threes and you miss them, it makes it a really difficult game to watch. It's just miserable in all honesty. It's just really hard to watch all those missed threes. Just after miss, after miss, after miss, after miss. This is the problem with shooting a bunch of three balls. It's really the problem with the NBA right now, because when they're not going in, it gets really difficult to watch. And that's what a lot of the fans are complaining about. But it is what it is right now, because I don't see it changing anytime soon unless they actually change the rules and move the three-point line back and then run into the sideline. And so there are no more side threes, but that's a whole nother discussion. But so even though it was a difficult time to watch, there were some positives, particularly Cody Williams in his return to, where he attended high school. It's kind of his home state, his home city of Phoenix. He played really well in front of his old high school coach who was in the crowd. Obviously, everybody who watched the game saw his coach being interviewed, and they put him on camera several times while he was sitting in the crowd. But, I mean, that's good for Cody. And he played a good game tonight overall. Right? He made shots. He was 5 for 10 from the field. He made 2 of 4 threes. Those are all good things. And he played a really solid game. And he played enough minutes to where, hopefully he continues to continue to progress and grow and become more and more comfortable. And continues to improve. And that's always the hope. And that's the hope for this season with playing the young guys a bunch of minutes and losing games. That we see improvement with the young guys. We don't need to win games. We actually need to lose games. But we see improvement with the young guys. And Cody showed that tonight. That first basket that he made where he was kind of stuck. And he ended up shooting like a fadeaway mid-range shot, and it went in. I mean, that's a fantastic shot. I'm actually really pleased that he hit that. Like I said, he went 2 for 4 from 3, but he also went 3 for 6 from 2. So he also had a nice driving layup under duress going to his right hand, where he made a really difficult shot. And really good to see. Yeah, he still threw up one air ball. I think it was from 3. Pretty sure it was from 3, where it wasn't even close, or it was a long 2, where it wasn't close again. And over time, obviously he needs to cut those out. You just can't shoot a bunch of air balls. And he's having up to this point in the season, he's had a tendency to do that. But really good game for Cody. Really, really happy to see, progress. We really just need to see progress. So let's take a look at the box score and just see what exactly transpired. So Cody played nearly 22 minutes, and he had 13 total points, and he didn't have a lot of rebounds again. And he only had 2 assists, but then to counter that, he only had 1 turnover. So he's not being placed in a position to make plays for his teammates right now, which I think is the correct way to do it. I think you need to bring him along slowly, because he needs to gain confidence, and confidence is a huge thing in basketball. He needs to gain confidence, and that's really, if you put him in a position where he's just going to fail, he's going to actually lose confidence. So you need to put him in positions where in places where he can actually succeed and not just miserably fail. So it's a balancing act. When you want the young guys to get as much time as they can and get as much experience as they can, but you have to put them in positions where they can succeed and they can see some positives and not just dwell on all the negatives, with all the missed shots and getting beat on defense and turning the ball over and committing fouls, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And Cody was on Durant tonight, and there was a couple times where he did a decent job on Durant. Obviously, Durant's a really difficult cover. He's one of the toughest covers in the NBA of the last 10 to 15 years. But there are times when, yes, we don't want to see Cody fail all the time, but he needs to have some experiences playing some of those really difficult covers. And Durant's obviously one of those guys. And Cody is giving up several inches to him. I'm sure that Durant's standing reach, he probably has a good 6 inches on him. But I think overall, I think he did a credible job in the opportunities he got to defend the guy. And that's really all you can hope for at this point. So I think tonight overall was the bright spot for tonight overall was the play of Cody Williams. And that's great to see, because I think for the Jazz to be really good 4 years from now, Cody really needs to be part of that. He has to be a significant portion of that. Because with the injury to Taylor Hendricks, who knows what's going to happen with him? And I'm still not sold on Keontae. I'm not a fan of that guy. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of his mentality. Some things that he did last year really, really, really bothered me. His lack of competitiveness on the defensive end and just the Matador defense. And he misses a lot of games. And in games, he constantly acts like he's injured just all the time. And he just suck it up and play. Good grief. But anyway, Keontae didn't play, so I'm not going to complain about him tonight. But overall, so Cody, really good game. And I thought Isaiah Collier, 27 minutes, 2 for 5 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, and only 2 turnovers again. The guy is playing great. Absolutely great. And we could easily see where he is the future point guard for the Jazz. I mean, he could definitely be that guy. He's a tough kid. He's obviously a hard-nosed kid, and he really passes the ball, and he's cutting down on his turnovers. Hopefully in this offseason, he just, like I think we discussed in the previous episode, he just needs to get with a shooting coach and straighten out his mechanics a bit, and then repetition of the correct mechanics and improve his shooting. But other than that, some real positives with his ability to run the team. Now, he did have that one play where in the first quarter where he turned the ball over, and it was the spacing wasn't particularly good. He was really far ahead on the pick and roll play, and he had to kind of wrap the bounce pass around, and he totally missed. I think it was Lowry that he was trying to hit on that, and he totally missed him, and the ball was completely behind him, and it was a run out fast break. Now that was obviously a really poor pass, and that was one of his 2 turnovers. But overall, aside from that, boy, the guy sees the floor really well. He has a point guard's mentality. He does share that Colin Sexton thing where he kind of puts his head down and just goes full bore into people. But I would say that he's learning from that. I mean, he did that a lot at USC last year, and he did it a lot at the beginning of this year. And I think as time has gone on, he's learned that he just can't go bull people over, especially NBA. The guys are just too big and too strong to do that. You got to be more selective with who you try and bully in the paint in the NBA, especially for somebody his size. He's obviously not a big guy. I mean, he's built like a pit bull, but he's not exactly. Yeah, he's short. For NBA standards, he's short, and that's just the reality of it. So he's really in a point guard's body. He is a strong point guard, and played another terrific game. Really happy to see. And Walker again. Man, Walker's just tearing it up. Absolutely awesome. Plays 31 minutes, 7 for 9 from the field, 2 for 3 from the free throw line, 13 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds, 6 defensive rebounds, 2 blocks, 16 points, 13 boards. Great. Really good progress. The only thing we really want to see from him more is, in terms of improvement and getting better, is we'd like to see a few more opportunities in the offensive opportunities in the paint around the basket with a little baby hook, like that left-hand hook he made the last game in the fourth quarter. Right-hand hook, left-hand hook, something in the paint. A lot of times when Walker gets the offensive rebound, unless he is right there where he can dunk it or just get a layup, even if he's 5 feet away from the basket, I mean, he's always looking to pass the ball out. And I can understand that if he's not comfortable yet actually turning and facing the basket and just doing a little baby hook or whatever, and actually trying to score the ball when he's that close to the basket. And that's where really, hopefully, the improvement and the comfort level continues to develop, so that he can actually produce more points when he gets an offensive rebound in a position where he should be able to score the ball at a really high percentage. I mean, it doesn't need to be a dunk or a layup. I mean, if he can do a little baby hook where he can make that 2/3 of the time, that's a really high percentage shot, and he should be able to do that. So, but Walker, another fantastic game, another young guy with another fantastic game, playing a lot of minutes. Lowry, obviously the threes just didn't go in tonight. 3 for 12 on threes. It was a monumental struggle. Yeah, he scored 24 points, but the 3 for 12 on threes, and the Jazz shot 9 for 42 overall from the 3-point line. That's what made the game difficult to watch. All those missed 3-pointers, just miss after miss after miss after miss. And that's the Achilles heel, one of the Achilles heels of the NBA right now. It's just when the threes aren't going in, there's so many shots. It's really difficult. It makes it really difficult and not exactly a pleasing experience to sit through. So, but again, at least he tallied a lot of a decent number of points. So it helps his average, and he's not hurting his average significantly. He was 7 or 8 for 18 from the field overall, and that's obviously not a good shooting night. But at least but it's not a terrible shooting night either. He made enough twos where, 4 out of 6 twos, where it helped his percentage somewhat. So at least he shot 40% from the field. But other than that, Micah didn't play a huge amount of minutes, 19. Colin again had another solid game other than missing the threes. 4 assists and 2 turnovers, 20 points, 8 for 17 from the field. Those are all solid numbers. Nothing wrong there. Colin, there has to be teams talking to the Jazz about Colin Sexton. What somebody's willing to offer is the big question. I guarantee there's teams talking to the Jazz about acquiring Colin Sexton, but I don't think the Jazz are looking to just give him away. So they're probably they're probably fielding a number of offers at this point, and we'll see what happens prior to the trade deadline. But I don't think they're going to give him away unless they get a decent offer. I don't think that's one of the guys. I think the Jazz would just move on from Clarkson at this point, but I don't think that's the case with Colin. I think they want assets in return for Colin, which is a good thing because I think Colin is worth getting assets in return. I don't think they should just give him away. Other than that, the only other thing that I'm going to point out in terms of the box score is, again, the Jazz were 9 for 42 from 3, and Lowry was 3 for 12, and then Svi was also 1 for 8. Wow. It's just hard. But Svi, in his defense, he did have 7 assists. I mean, he committed 4 turnovers, but he did have 7 assists. So, and the Jazz turned the ball over 13 times. I mean, they had a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio because they had 26 assists and 13 turnovers. Now, 26 assists on 42 made field goals, that's not great, but that's not bad either. I mean, that's a mediocre night in terms of the number of assisted baskets you have, of the percentage of assists to total made field goals. I'd say that's a mediocre night, but in terms of assist to turnover ratio, 2-to-1 as a team, not bad. That's actually decent. The thing that really just killed the Jazz tonight is they took a lot of threes, 42, and they made 9. That's what killed them. They out-rebounded the Suns by a lot. The Jazz had 50 total rebounds and 21 offensive rebounds. Just obviously, those are really good numbers. But it's the missed threes that really did them in. So, it's a good thing the Jazz lost. It would have been nice if they played a bit better and made it a little bit more competitive down the stretch. But at least they lost the game again. Yeah, if they would have won this game, I would have been I would have been unhappy. I mean, the long and short of it, I would not have been pleased had they actually won this game tonight. But the 9 for 42 from 3, I mean, they shot themselves out of the game. So anyway, I think we're on a good. I think we're in a good place right now. I much prefer watching the Jazz with the players that are playing right now. I wish Bryce were playing, but the players who are, and I wish Johnny were playing too, but the players playing right now, minus the backcourt of Keontae and Clarkson, I think it's a much more pleasing game to watch, much more entertaining game to watch. And I prefer the current lineup over what we will end up with in whenever Keontae and Clarkson come back. I would just prefer to watch these guys. I'd much prefer to watch Collier over Keontae, and I'd much prefer to watch Sexton over Clarkson. I mean, much prefer. Now, I wish Johnny and Bryce were playing. Those are another 2 young guys that I think would help in their development to get time right now. But with the absence of Clarkson, but obviously, that's not the case. And they brought in Harkless, who played a few minutes tonight. And I'll be quite honest. I don't know anything about Harkless. Never saw him play in college. I don't have any words for that guy at this point. I need to see him more than just a few minutes in one game to have any opinion on him whatsoever. So anyway, those are my thoughts for tonight. And we will go ahead and see you after the next game. We urge you to like and subscribe if you care to. But other than that, we will see you after the next game. Have a good night, everybody.